There we go. Now we should be good. Alright. Are we working now? We are now working, so sorry about the false start there, but I'm back. Microphone wasn't being picked up here, but welcome back, people of the internet. It is I, Solar Dragon here, back with more Avalon Lefay Part 3. Conclusion. Last time, Faerie Britain has started to burn. And Merlin has appeared, so hopefully he'll be able to help us out with, you know, everything being on fire. Because, yeah, everything's on fire, which is not too good in the slightest bit. Poor Bargast has kind of lost herself, as has, well, Murian's dead. Lots has happened. And it's a very dark time for Faerie Britain. We have all these missions complete, so I will go ahead and claim them real quick, giving us a bunch of foes as well as quartz. I'm sure if we go to our present box, they'll be listed separately, maybe? I don't know. Oh, they were Hellfires. Cool. I'll take it. But yeah, I think without further ado, let's begin with, or rather... let's continue. Section 27. Probably, outside of the interludes, the shortest section we've seen. This one is called The Time of Creation. Given that Merlin just appeared, I'm guessing you're going to get some exposition here. So, without further ado, let's begin. And if you're watching this on YouTube, please be sure to drop a like and subscribe. It is always appreciated. Now then, I believe greetings are in order. Good day, Chaldeans. I'm the amazing Merlin the Great. I've actually been free for some time now, ever since Morgan was killed and her guardian disappeared. Sorry for getting here so late. I needed some extra time to get everything ready. Foo-foo! Is that you, Cathpog? No fair staying behind in Chaldea without me. I'm sorry, Merlin, that was just Senpai's faux impression. Is that a thing in Chaldea now? Who said that could be a thing? Uh-oh. Whoops, sorry about that. I'm still a little shaky. I'm not exaggerating when I say this feels like a waking dream for me. You see, I'm not actually there with you. What you're seeing right now is an illusion. That also means I can only hear your voices. I can't see what either you or Mash look like right now, Soul. So I'm afraid our joyful reunion will have to wait a little longer. But don't worry, I'll get to see your grown-up faces in just a few hours. I'll be waiting for you at the entrance to Avalon, making sure I look nice and respectable. Merlin. You're Merlin? That's me. Is that the child of prophecy speaking? Sorry to surprise you like this. I know we have a lot to catch up on, but I'm afraid our private conversation will have to wait until things are somewhat less intense. Let's see, I believe Mr. Gordolf is Chaldea's current commander, yes? Is he there now, too? Okay, so... interesting. So Merlin does... it does seem like this is the same Merlin from Babylonia, perhaps, but the way he's talking kind of implies that we never summoned him to our Chaldea? Maybe? I don't know, it's the implications here. Yeah, see, I mean, I am. This is Gordolf Music speaking. So you're Merlin, are you? I won't bother asking why you're just showing up now. You're right that we have more pressing matters than you barging in. What I want to know is what you meant by when you said there's still hope. Nice. You pack a lot of bluster into that voice. It seems you're pretty much the exact opposite of the prior acting commander. But I digress. When I said there's still hope, I meant there's still a way to stop this collapse. Let me cut to the chase. I'd like you to send the Fairy of Paradise back here right away. Artoria, you've been hearing Avalon calling you ever since you finished ringing the bells, right? It's time for you to fulfill your duty as the Fairy of Paradise. Once you have, it'll be possible to erase the singularity and defeat Cernunnos. But I'm not qualified to. Qualification is schmalification. None of that matters. Sir Nunus' curse will weaken once the Fairy of Paradise who rang the bell pilgrimage returns to paradise. It won't get rid of it entirely, but it'll stop it from getting stronger. The god of wisdom who pawned this power off on me confirmed as much. He might be from a different mythology, but he knows what he's talking about here. Isn't that right, Ambrosius? My job is to get Artoria to paradise by hook or by crook. As long as she's rung the bells of pilgrimage, it doesn't even matter if she's still alive. Oh. Right, of course. I should have known that's how this would go. Grimmer, why would you... Yeah, honestly, Grimmer, what the hell, man? So, I've actually kind of known about it all along. I could see that's why Grimmer was here the whole time, too. That's expressly for the worst-case scenario, Grimmer. We're nowhere near that point now. She's in the best possible condition right now. I can't see it, but I can sense it. I have no doubt that the Fairy of Paradise, the Avalon Lefay, will fulfill her duty of her own volition. Even if someone convinced her this is ridiculous. And we should all just give up and enjoy the time we have left. Besides, you'll have no choice but to come here to Avalon. There's a spirit cavern that leads to the planet's inner sea from the corpse of Albion, the border dragon that sank into the dark bog. Now that Britain has begun to collapse, the path should be open again. All you need to do is go spelunking for 1 hour. That said, we're still talking about the largest holy ground in the Magecraft world. It won't let just anyone in. But it should open for Sol as a representative of humanity, and Mash as a Knight of the Round Table. Yeah, we're representative of humanity! The Fairy Paradise, and I guess there's room for her attendant, Muramasa, as well. The rest of you will have to wait there until they get back. Man, we're going to Avalon. Shiro had to suffer for years to get to that point, but we're just going to be strolling right in. We totally haven't suffered, have we? Well, Gordolf, what would you have us do? What else can we possibly do? Captain, set a course for the dark bog at once. That was in the Lake District, right? Do you know the coordinates, technical advisor? Sure do. That part won't be a problem. But apparently, the only ones who can enter this spirit caravan are the 4 Merlin specified. That's not a lot of fighters for a trip as potentially dangerous as this, and that's not even annotating and antitioning. I don't know what that word is. How much I wanted to see this for myself. But it looks like we don't have any other choice but to send them off and trust things will work out. Are you ready to go, Sol? Are you alright, Artoria? That's a question. Gee, I think I'll be fine. Besides, I'd just end up fighting with Grimmer if I said no. And you know, thinking about it some more, I'm actually kind of excited. This will basically be my first time visiting home. Understood. I'll update our strategy to include Merlin's instructions. I feel like Castoria is deflecting and hiding her emotions here, perhaps? Sol, Mash, Artoria, Muramasa. You 4 will make your way through this spirit cavern and head for the planet's inner sea, the paradise of Avalon. The storm border will remain on station above the Lake District. Captain Nemo and Da Vinci will focus on piloting the border. If anything should try to attack us, Grim and I will fend them off. Wait, please. This is all new and unfamiliar to me, so I doubt I'll be of much help. But Britain is my home. It's only right that I should take part in any battles we may face. Absolutely not, and if anything, you should be resting right now. You're in no shape to be fighting anymore, right? Your only job now is to get to the treatment you need and recuperate until you're back to your old self. That's an order from the Child of Prophecy. Got it? If you even think about defying me on this, I'll completely abandon my duty. Is that clear? Yes, Child of Prophecy. I'll follow your orders. I have to say, though, I never thought I'd see the day you got seriously mad at me. You've always been one to keep your feelings in check and not make a fuss. She is great at pretending to be a model student. You think? I've always thought I've been pretty open and forthcoming with my feelings, personally. Sure, whenever you're turning your brain off and do something stupid, the rest of the time you pretend to be a big old nervous Nelly. What do you mean? I've never done anything stupid. What's a nervous Nelly anyway, Muramasa? That's brightened Mash's mood a fair bit. So you have to go to Avalon, huh? Interesting. Very, very interesting. The lake region. Vargas has moved some more. I think she's heading to, I don't know where she's heading, actually. Londinium, perhaps? But the lake region. Formation restricted. You set the party pre-battle and we're up against a Lancer. Okay, well, we got some powerful sabers on our side. Ironically enough, they are mostly the round table servants. Like we discussed earlier, we'll be standing by in the storm border in the Lake District airspace. You expect the operation to take about 3 hours. That's all the time the ship, no, Britain, has left. We have no way of knowing what will happen in the Spirit Cavern. So please, try to be as careful as you possibly can, Soul. Entering the Spirit Cavern now! That felt different from the water mirror that sent me to the past in Norwich. Does this mean we're inside Albion's Spirit Cavern now? Can we still contact Chaldea? No, we can't. We're cut off now, just as Da Vinci predicted. Gathering coordinate data now. 10, 20, 40, 80... 80? Master, you're not gonna believe this, but it looks like we're 80 kilometers below the ground now. Damn, that's even deeper than the pit. A lot deeper. Are we even sure this is underground? It's completely pitch dark, and it doesn't even feel like I'm standing on anything. You're not wrong. This world is a whole other layer. Another dimension, to simply put it. You were just able to bypass all the ground in the way thanks to Albion. But be warned that it goes much deeper. In proper human history, 80-kilometer mark is where Albion gave up the ghost. But in this Lostbelt, Albion managed to make her out all the way to Avalon. Unfortunately, the path wasn't wide enough for Albion to get through, so they still died on the surface. So there's a cavern in proper human history, too. That's right, though over there it's known as the Spiritual Tomb. In proper human history, the Spiritual Tomb of Albion ends at the 80-kilometer mark. Beyond that is a world known as the Faerie Realm, which no human can enter. But since the British Lostbelt is all this world's Faerie Realm, there are no such restrictions here. So we can keep going down as far as we like. In real-world distance, you're starting at the 400-kilometer mark, and going further down to the Beyond D layer, 2,700 kilometers away. That is where you'll find your destination, the planet's inner sea. Wait, so we're 80 kilometers below the ground now, and our destination is 2,700 kilometers below the ground? How the hell can we cover this kind of distance? Simple. You take a shortcut. When I said it'd take an hour, I wasn't basing that on how fast you travel. I mean, that's how long it'd take. Period. I'll use a series of transit time reduction spells to bring you all to your destination. Anyway, this must be pretty dull for you. How about we turn on the lights? Lights. Well, there's that mural again. It's a cave now. Is it actually a cave, or are we just perceiving it as a cave? Oh no, Merlin's taken the guise of foe. So what do you think? Doesn't this feel more like a cavern? Now go on, keep moving. The transit time reduction I mentioned is kicking in with every step you take. This place is Earth's memory. Well, more like a space made of pure information, really. The idea is to skip past all the vague, hazy memories and get you straight to your destination. That should be a huge help, but, is that Merlin? Third time she's asked. So finally showing us what you really look like. Is something wrong? Oh, I see. Struck dumb by my true glory. I get it. Very well then, heap your praise upon me. You can even worship me if you like, Muramasa. It's been a long time since I've shown up. After all, I need to look as strong as and impressionable as possible, given the short time I have. I'm not gonna tell him, it's hilarious. Good point. We probably shouldn't pry too deeply into this. More importantly, Senpai, that mural over there. I think it's called the Abyssal Worm. Oh, are you seeing the priestess memories projected there? Perfect. I'll take the hour you'll be traveling to tell you how this all began. This is the story of the British Lostbelt's genesis, and what precisely the Fairy of Paradise's mission entails. Exposition dump. Artoria doesn't look too happy about that, though. It became ocean at the end. There was ocean at the beginning. After the shooting star passed, the land all ran into rivers. Long ago, as far back as time can go, 6 fairies went outside to find the world had become an ocean. This is awful, they thought. How terrible our world has become. Then a large shadow rose up from the ocean. It belonged to a giant fluffy creature. On its shoulders stood one of the animals the fairies believed was gone. The 6 fairies and the god soon became friends. It wasn't easy living on the ocean. There was nowhere to go and nothing to do. But the god made things better for the 6 fairies by sheltering them from the waves. The ocean without waves is nice, but we still miss having land. So the 6 fairies offered the god their joy. And they offered the god their wish. Then they offered the god himself. And so the fairies' wish was granted. They offered the god himself. Then, after their rejoicing ended, they tricked the god into drinking poisoned wine, and he died. Oh. So they offered to... Oh, God, what the fuck did the fairies do this time? And so the fairies acquired the god's body. They made the body into land which they could live. They were grateful, too, to be able to make use of the crying, screaming animal the dead god left behind. She was their only human, but one simply wasn't enough. So, being very careful not to kill her, they cut her into pieces. They cast a spell on her to make sure she wouldn't die no matter what they did, and used every last piece of her. Thus did the Isle of Britain come into being. Thus did the great mistake begin. What the fuck, fairies? May the first 6 fairies find salvation. May the first 6 fairies be cursed for all time. There you have it. You may have heard it before, but that's the story of Britain's creation. Any questions? Is that why? Indeed, the first 6 fairies, the progenitors of the 6 clans, killed Cernunnos. The pit you saw on the surface is Cernunnos' grave, and the curse spilling out of it, even as we speak, is his rage. But why would the fairies do such a thing? He was in their way. This all happened 14,000 years ago. When the 6 fairies came out of paradise and onto the surface, Earth was already covered in a sea of nothingness. The one who ended up helping the 6 stranded fairies was a Celtic beast god who just came up to the surface like they had. A god who would later become known as Cernunnos. Cernunnos and his priestess, the lone human who had managed to survive, just like the fairies did, both did their best to protect the fairies. At first, the fairies were grateful for their help. But the Sea of Nothingness never changed. No matter how much time passed, no land appeared. The fairies blamed Cernunnos for that. They thought he just wasn't strong enough. What's more, they didn't particularly like his priestess. She was constantly telling them to sort themselves out and consider the consequences of their actions. Eventually, the fairies couldn't take it anymore, and they decided to deal with Cernunnos permanently. They figured that since they didn't have any land to stand on, they could find a substitute. And since Cernunnos was so big, they thought his body could serve just as fine as a small island. But of course, Cernunnos was a god. They couldn't kill him easily, so they came up with a plan and held a festival. They told Cernunnos they were holding the festival in his honor, to worship him, and held a banquet with lots of wine. Cernunnos was delighted that he was being celebrated for being the fairies' first official god. He probably figured they were trying to change their thoughtless ways. And so, against his priestess's wishes, Cernunnos attended the banquet and was poisoned to death while he drank their wine. Some rejoicing that turned out to be. And what happened to the priestess exactly? I feel like, the fairies used her as the foundation. No, as the base ingredient for the humans that came later. The truth is, every human in the British Lostbelt is an inferior copy of the priestess, who was killed during Britain's genesis. At any rate, as A-Ray, the 6 fairies went on to create their own stone and force children and grow their clans. As time passed, they transformed more and more of Cernunnos' body into land. But after 100 years, things stopped going quite so well for the fairies. Their children kept dying, turning into fallen trees adrift on the sea. New generations kept being born, so the number of fairies never decreased. And thanks to the humans who had been copied from the priestess's cells, Britain slowly developed into a civilization. With civilization came new societal roles. The fairies made new types of fairies, and their forests flourished like never before. But then they kept dying for no reason whatsoever. Eventually, the 6 progenitor fairies realized Cernunnos' rage was the cause. Even though Cernunnos' soul was gone, his body wasn't completely dead. In fact, his heart alone still burned with the fire that they used to cremate him. Even in his death, Cernunnos' body continued to smolder with anger and curses. He could very well have come back to life at any time. The fairies were so shocked by this that they fled Cernunnos' body. Fortunately, this was right around the time their children's corpses were starting to form new ground. The fairy corpses are essentially made from the same stuff as the planet itself. The fallen trees became earth and stone and quickly filled the sea, almost as if they were trying to cover up the fairies' sins. That's how this Lostbelt began. That's why this Isle of Britain uses fairies' corpses to grow and expand. After several thousand years, the fairies had acquired their very own Britain. But all the while, Cernunnos' body was still there. A divine grave that would let no ocean-filling fallen tree near it. An indelible reminder of the fairies' sin. A reminder that rejected their corpses. Eventually, the fallen trees blocked off the ocean's water for good, and Cernunnos' body was left at the bottom of the sea. That is the true nature of the pit. It's not actually the pit. It's the remains of a patch of dried-up ocean. An island made by killing a god. The fairies' original sin. It wasn't just Cernunnos they killed, but the priestess who served him as well. No, she wasn't just killed. She was desecrated and used as a tool for all these 14,000 years. No wonder Cernunnos is so pissed. I doubt even killing every fairy in Britain would be enough to satisfy him. Although, why'd he come to the surface anyway? Isn't it kind of narrow-minded to curse the whole damn world just because you got killed? Especially after you went out of your way to get involved with the fairies. That's probably because Cernunnos was an envoy of paradise sent to reprimand the fairies. That was the whole reason he came here, to punish them. I don't think his heart was in it, though. Like this mural shows, Cernunnos was a very kind god by nature. But the fairies might have found him terrifying simply because he existed. The reason the world became a sea of nothingness is... That's right. That's the point where this Lostbelt diverged from proper human history, and its greatest mistake. You see, 14,000 years ago was the greatest turning point for all of humanity. Maybe you heard something about the planetary envoy that almost destroyed Earth's past civilization back in Olympus. Yep, I was right, Zephyr! Yes, we did. It was a white civilization-destroying giant named Zephyr, who fell from a shooting star. Zephyr wiped out countless pantheons and almost destroyed every civilization on Earth. In the end, it was humans who managed to defeat it, not gods. I heard they did so using a divine constructs, weapons made in the planet Inner Sea meant to combat planetary threats. I also heard the sacred sword Excalibur was the greatest such weapon, and that it was created in Britain. Oh, fuck. That's right, I just realized that nobody here has ever mentioned it. The very idea of a sacred sword just doesn't exist in this version of Britain. So that must mean Excalibur was never made. Oh. So this whole Lostbelt began because Excalibur was never made? Don't have to tell you what happened as a result. In this what-if world, humanity never had the means to defeat Zephyr. And given the fact that Cernunnos came to punish the fairies for it, that means the fairies didn't make Excalibur. So it's the fairies' fault. That's why they were wiped out. Zephyr destroyed all the planet's landmasses and took them for itself, leaving only a sea of nothingness with few aquatic life forms. So why was the sacred sword never made? The reason for that is both exceedingly simple and unsurprising. Its creators slacked off. Fuck the fairies! The A-Ray, that is, the 6 fairies who were supposed to forge it in the planet's inner sea, decided it would be okay to take a day off just this once and went off to have fun. It was only once they noticed something had gone wrong with the world and went up to the surface that they realized the consequences of their choices. But they figured there was no changing the past and refused to accept that the world's destruction was their fault. Oh my god, the progenitors are monsters. So Cernunnos, the one god who had taken shelter in paradise to keep his priestess safe, was sent to reprimand them and make them atone for their sins. But then the fairies killed Cernunnos and his priestess, the last surviving human. At that point, they could no longer return to the planet's inner sea. Only those free of sin may pass, meaning only fairies without sin can go to paradise. It's the same for all of Britain's fairies, as they're all descended from those original 6. None of them can enter the planet's inner sea, and so they continue to suffer on that island of sin to atone. So that's how this Lostbelt came into being. That's right, it all started with the sacred sword never being made. Eventually, the fairies chosen from the planet's inner sea were sent to the surface to correct this mistake. The first one was Vivian, and the second one was you, Castor. Your mission is to have the 6 clans admit their mistake and inherit the mystic needed to create the sacred sword. The bells of pilgrimage indicate that the clan heads have accepted their sins, and the fairy who rings all of them becomes the sacred sword itself. I'm sorry, wait, that's not what happened though. They didn't accept their sins. But as Morgan, Vivian refused to do that. After all, once the sacred sword was made, the very premise on which this Lostbelt is built would cease to be. I'm sure you learned about this yourself when you rang the bell in Orkneycaster. And in spite of that, you continued on your path, defeated Morgan, and now you're here with Sol. You must have had to face down so many doubts to come this far. In fact, you may never be entirely free of them. But even so, you're still here, which is why I believe you have what it takes to see this through to the end. Anyway, I know that was a lot of talking, but we're almost to our destination now. The convictions of the last dragon are waiting up ahead to see if you're qualified to proceed. Only those free of sin may pass. That sin doesn't refer to the original sin you're born with, or the sins you've committed in your life thus far. It refers to what you're about to do, and what your hearts are resolved to do now. It's your reason for living, your principle for existence and prosperity. The way to the land of hope will only open for those who demonstrate true strength in these regards. It's gone. Everything on the surface is gone. The sky, the sea, life, everything I've ever seen. My records will never again grow in number. I will never again know new joys. You who would choose the sacred sword's wielder, you who would chant the king's name. If you seek a new world, then leave all traces of the old behind. My name is, and I'm the last dragon, the one who chose to continue flying above the ground instead of returning to the inner sea. If you can overcome these tears, I will offer my heart to the Forger of Stars. The last dragon. Two servants from my party. Okay. Well, I've got to go with this then. It's just thematically appropriate given who's all here. But fuck, this Lostbelt has such, like, I never would have thought that was why this Lostbelt is as it is. Because fucking fairies were too goddamn lazy. I never would have guessed that, honestly. But it's the truth. Which is horrific, honestly. But, and it sounds like Castoria is going to become Excalibur, perhaps? Which is going to be weird. I mean, there's plenty of... Hello, Melusine. The Red Dragon. Dragon's Heartbeat. Increase attack or defense or crit rate for yourself when attacked. That is definitely an interesting look for you there, Melusine. 800,000 HP as well, so... We're gonna be a little hard-pressed to punch through this here, but... We'll see how this goes. A single target would definitely have been a better choice, but I didn't know what we were getting into. Only 100,000 on the end. Dragonheart B. Okay. Murmoss is gonna Brave Chain this turn and next turn. We have no stars, though! I just realized I generated 0 stars during all that. Lovely. I do think this is the right choice, though. Get rid of all these stuff that she has. And then apply a buff block. Have Mash draw the focus for a turn, since she'll take neutral damage, and then go off. Murmossa is pretty much as boosted up as he's gonna get right now. Still not that high at hitting me. Okay. Give Mash a turn of invincibility to withstand this. I would love to get a 3 thing for Muramasa. Okay, Muramasa, come on. Over Muramasa. Damn it. Oh, there we. I forgot about the charisma. The charisma saves the day. Okay. So Muramasa's arts card effectiveness increases. So I think what we'll do is to ensure that we survive whatever's about to come our way. Like super ensure. Okay, I was wondering if she would NP. Hollow Heart Albion. Oh, that is an awesome look, honestly. Honestly, I really do like Melusine's Final Ascension look. It looks fucking awesome. Okay, now is where it's gonna start getting tough because I'm out of NP chains and buffs. If I can survive long enough, I should be capable of doing this though. Fairy Dancer, increased crits. Nash is incredibly vulnerable right now. That should help. Have a mash chain go in. Mash! Smashed! Yes! That was unexpected victory, but victory all the same. Well done, Mash. Well done. Mash is strong. I'm very close to level up as well. Ah, I can hear the bells tolling. My heart may have stopped, but yours yet beats strong. Welcome home, Avalon LaFay. May the sound of hope echo into the future. Right? That's right. That's the entrance to the planet's inner sea. This is the land of the young. Tir Na Nog, the eternal spring. This is the place many life forms have dreamed of finding. Welcome to an Avalon whose time has come. This is where the journey of the planet's birth ends. The journey of the planet's birth. We are literally bringing along the end to the planet, it sounds like. I don't know. I mean, it's not like there's much left for us to destroy, if nothing else. But that is section 27, I believe. Done. 1 quartz, 2 scales, 2 prisms, and 2 hellfires. So I'm going to really quickly... Whoa. This looks so much better. So much more beautiful, honestly. This is Avalon. But I'm going to pause the recording here for those watching this on YouTube. Thank you so much for tuning in. Tomorrow will be the next part of Avalon LaFay, the Land of Hope. Avalon. I will see you tomorrow on YouTube.